let me show you 8 crazy things to do in Procreate. These are fun things to do when you are bored or when you just don't have any inspiration for drawing. The first thing I'd like to show you is how you can create this crazy water or lava effect. First, we need a dark blue. Just go to your color wheel and grab something like this. Drag it onto your canvas, then make a new layer on top by tapping the plus, and then pick a light color, something like this. Drag it on there, then go back to your layer menu, tap the N, and set the layer blending mode to screen. Then we'll go to the magic wand and to noise. Drag to the right, and then go to ridges and turn up the scale. You can already see the water-like effect. You can turn up the octaves and you can play around with the turbulence to get this really nice watery effect. And you can also play around with the amount of noise until you get an effect that you like. You can do something similar for a lava effect. Let's just make another layer, tap the plus, and then first, again, grab a dark color, like a dark reddish color. Drag it onto your canvas, then make a new layer on top by tapping the plus, grab a lighter color, a nice orangey color, drag it on there, then again tap the layer, blending mode, the N, scroll down to screen, go to your magic wand, to noise, turn it up, set it to ridges, turn up the scale, and play around with the settings to get a nice lava effect. Next, I'd like to show you how you can create this animation effect on your videos in Procreate. For this effect, you can use a video you have made yourself, or you can go to a website like Pexels and find a video there. I'll go for a dancing video. You can scroll through all the different options. Let's check this one out. We can work with this. Let's download it. And then once you have your video, make sure to go to this little icon and make it a little bit shorter so that we don't have to do a crazy amount of stuff. So let's just go for like this area maybe. So we just have like a few seconds. Then tap done, and you can save the video as a new clip. Then we'll go back to Procreate, and then you can simply import your video by tapping photo and navigating to your video. So now we have our video and we have all these frames here of this movement. And when you open your layer menu, you'll also see these layers. So every frame is a layer on which we can paint. So let's just grab a brush. You can grab any brush you like. I'll go to the inking brushes and use the dry ink brush. And let's just pick a nice bright color like yellow. I have the opacity of this brush at 100%, the size at 10. And then let's start making a line that is going along his body. So let's start here and then we'll go to the next frame. And now we can't see that line, so we need to change our settings. We need to turn on blend primary frame and then turn down the onion skin layers to 1. Now we can turn up the opacity. You can play with that. Let's go for 70%. And now we see this little line here and we can start moving it. Then we'll go to the next one. And every time you make it move a little bit, and we'll follow the outside of its body. So keep moving. Now the line has gone all around its body, and now when you press play, you'll get this effect. And of course, you can go back to your first layer, and you can pick a different color, for instance, maybe a blue, and make more lines going along his body. Maybe you have one starting over here. And then you can just continue making this line follow his body. Until you have gone through all of the frames. And what you can also do is make the line like flow out of his body. Like here, following the arm and then making splashes and making them slowly disappear. And then when you press play, it'll look like this. So the possibilities with this are endless. Next, we'll challenge ourselves blindly picking colors. First, we are going to set our iPad to grayscale. To do that, you need to go to your iPad settings, then to accessibility, then to display and text size, then scroll down to color filters, tap that, and over here, turn color filters on and make sure that it's set to grayscale. Then we can go back to Procreate, and then we are going to color. First, you need to import a coloring page, of course. In this case, it's the Powerpuff Girls. Then tap the N next to the layer and set it to multiply. Then tap the layer again and set it to reference. And now we can make a new layer. Then let's drag this underneath here. And now we can go to our color menu. And of course, we have no idea what colors we'll be picking. Now, I'm quite familiar with this color circle, so I'll make it a bit harder on myself by going to the classic mode. And then I'm going to guess where something like red is for the bow. And I'll just drag it in here. And you can tap continue filling to tab the areas that you want to have the same color. And you can continue doing this, guessing the colors of the hair and of the clothing. And you can just tap the areas and continue doing this until you have colored everything like this. And then when you turn the colors back on, you can totally surprise yourself. I think this is actually quite a good look. Next, let's have fun creating this crazy spotlight effect. What you need is an illustration, and you need a dark version and a light version. The dark version is at the bottom, the light version is at the top. Then let's turn off our light version for now. Tap the dark version and then tap the plus for a new layer. And then you need a brush like the monoline brush, and we'll grab white. Then we need to draw a circle like this. Hold your pen in place. You can tap one finger on the screen for a perfectly round circle and then drag in the color. Now you can have a crisp edged spotlight, or you can make it a bit blurry. You can go to the magic wand and to Gaussian blur and slide to the right on your screen. And then what we'll do is we'll turn on our light version, tap that, and set it to clipping mask. Now we have a spotlight over here. Now, to be able to move it around, first we need to go to our spotlight layer. I'll make the brush very small. Let's set it to like 4%, or what is it, 5, and lower the opacity to maybe 5% as well. And then tap in the corners so that there's a little stroke there as well, which you can't really see. And we'll do that because when you go to the move and transform tool, without doing that, your bounding box will be around your circle. And we don't want to see the bounding box. So we can make our spotlight a little bit bigger now. Make sure to set it to uniform. Make it a little bit bigger. And then we can zoom in a little bit. And then you can move your spotlight around. And this is just a fun effect with which you can have endless fun and endless possibilities. Oh, and if you want to draw this hippo as well, then I'll leave a link to the tutorial for you in the description. Next, let me show you how you can create stickers in Procreate. First, create an illustration that has a nice clear outline. This is one we have created in a previous tutorial. I'll link it in the description for you. And in this case, let's get rid of the circle and the shadow. So we just have our little turtle. Now what you need to do is save this image on your iPad. So you can just go to the wrench, then to share, and then save it as a JPEG. Then just go to your illustration in your images app and tap and hold it. Then let go and then tap add sticker. And then you have added your sticker. You can add an effect. You can give it a white outline. You can make it comic, puffy, or add a nice shine to it. And then you can just tap done. And then you can use the sticker in your messages app. The next crazy thing I have for you in Procreate is a new brush in my treasure chest brush pack. If you don't already have it, go to freefromflow.com to get it. It has more than 100 brushes in it. And this crazy clay brush is the latest addition. And this is a great brush if you just want to have fun making some silly designs. It's a brush that uses both of these colors. And you need a shadow color, like a brownish color, and for instance a yellow, and then you need to select your shadow color before you start drawing. And then you can use this to create a little sun, for instance, and get that 3D effect. And we can add some clouds. Then we need more of like a bluish shadow, blue highlight. Not that clouds are blue, but in this case they are. And just create silly illustrations with the silly little brush. Now here's another crazy thing to do. Let's make a 3D sphere in a landscape. You can grab any random picture, any random landscape or city scene, whatever you like. And then all you need to do is first grab the monoline brush. It's under calligraphy. And let's grab white. Then let's make a layer on top of our photo. So tap the plus. And then first we need our monoline brush, which you can find under calligraphy. You can set your color to white. And you need a new layer on top of your photo. So let's tap the plus. And then for the brush, make sure that it's set to 100% opacity. And let's set the size to 30%. And then let's draw a circle like this. Hold your pen in place. Then tap one finger on the screen for a perfectly round circle. And then you can tap here at the top, move it around. Let's place it about here, and then drag in the color. Next thing we'll do is duplicate our photo. You can slide to the left, tap duplicate, and then drag this on top of our circle. Now let's lower the opacity of our bottom photo a bit by tapping the N, setting it to around 50%. Then tap this top photo and turn on clipping mask. Now we can manipulate this photo. We'll go to the move and transform tool and set it to warp. Now you can use these handles to drag the image and to make it follow the shape of the sphere. Make this bottom part a bit more rounded. Make it curve like this. And you can put your pen in different positions. Use different handles. So go for something like this and then tap the arrow to get out of here. Then we are going to add shading to our sphere. We'll tap the plus for a new layer and set that to clipping mask as well. Then tap the N and scroll up to multiply. And then for our brush, we'll go to the airbrushing brushes and use the soft brush. And for the color, we'll grab black. You can just double tap here. And at the same time, let's also turn up the opacity of our photo again. Now the opacity of my brush is at 80%, the size at 22. And let's go along the underside of our sphere, adding a slight shadow there. And if you think your shadow has gotten a bit too dark, then you can just tap the M and play around with the opacity. I'll set it to 80%. Then let's tap the plus, set that layer to clipping mask as well, and I will add a highlight. We'll tap the N and scroll down to add a highlight to our sphere. And for that, we'll grab white. So you can double tap here and then gently go over the top area and also a little bit along the edges here. Having some reflected light. Gently go over to create that 3D effect. Then you can make it even more shiny by adding a highlight over here as well. Let's make the brush a little bit smaller for that, maybe 9%. Add a bit of a highlight here as well. And then to make it stand out, let's add some blur to our background. What we'll do is duplicate our photo, slide to the left, tap duplicate, then go to the magic wand and to perspective blur. And then we can slide to the right with our pen to turn up that blur. You can move around the perspective. We can place it in the center. And this will really add a nice effect. I want the foreground to be crisp though. So what we'll do is we'll tap this blurry layer, then tap mask, and then let's use our soft brush, but let's make it a bit bigger again, 22%. And then we'll go over this lower area, bringing back the crispness. And then finally, for some extra depth, we can add a shadow over here below our sphere. We can tap the plus, then tap the N, scroll up to multiply again, and grab black. Double tap here, and then go over this area underneath our sphere to add a slight shadow. For our final crazy fun thing, let's create scratch art. This is just a fun thing from childhood, which I think can be super relaxing. So let's create our scratch art page. Let's zoom out a little bit. First, fill your canvas with lots of color. You can use the medium brush, for instance, and just pick a bunch of rainbow colors. Make your brush big, 20%, opacity at 100. And just add colors to your canvas. Go around your color wheel. Play around with the size of your brush. And continue doing this until your entire canvas is filled with color. And then once you have a bunch of color, you can swirl it together. You can go to the magic wand, then to liquefy. And for instance, set it to twirl left or twirl right. And just go over your canvas, mixing your colors a bit. And then let's blur them. We'll tap the magic wand again, and then go to Gaussian blur and slide to the right. So we'll get something like this. At 13%, then tap the magic wand again. And now we are going to make a layer on top, our scratch layer. Tap the plus, then grab black, drag it on there, and then you can either use an eraser set to any brush, or you can add a layer mask to this layer, and then grab a brush. For instance, you could use one of the sketching brushes, like the peppermint brush, and then make sure to set it to black, so you can go over your paper and scratch. Now I have the opacity of this brush set to 100%, the size at 100 as well. And then just like before, you can create some silly things. Create a simple little landscape. Whatever you like, whatever relaxes you. And if you want to start over, all you have to do is swipe with 3 fingers on your canvas, and then you can just start over. I hope you had fun with these 8 crazy things to do in Procreate. And if you want even more, go check out these 2 videos. Thank you for watching. See you next time.